You're listening to the Lutheran Hour, and this is Action in Ministry, a call to action in response to all that God has done for us in Jesus Christ.
You know, Mark, as I was talking about new beginnings today and the only love that lasts, today you might be thinking about other loves that didn't last.
That's right. Maybe you weren't looking for a new beginning, but that's where you find yourself today as the result of divorce. If so, we want you to know about a print resource we have titled Beyond Divorce, and here to talk with us about it is JoAnn Zintel. She's the coordinator of a divorce care program at her church, and she knows firsthand the pain divorce can cause, but she's also a firm believer in the power of God's restoration.
JoAnn, again, the pain, we're sorry that you went through that, but we're also so happy that you're here to talk about that restoration power. It's great to have you.
Thanks.
Now, listen, JoAnn, the first thing we read in this booklet are the words, "the journey begins." So we understand that perhaps 40% of first marriages end in divorce, and the rate's even higher for remarriages. What is common with those beginning this journey of divorce?
It's a difficult journey.
Mm-hmm.
The journey becomes difficult way before divorce actually happens or occurs.
Okay.
And once it does occur, there's a tangled ball of emotion, conflicting emotion. You might hate a person and love them at the same time, which makes absolutely no sense. And then some people are just numb.
Wow.
And how does God help someone deal with the pain of divorce?
I think that it's really a time when a person is brought to their knees, where they really have little hope. They've lost hope in their marriage, which is a very difficult place to be.
Right.
And so they're kind of on the ground, not really sure how to get up. And I think that's at the point where self-sufficiency, this fake idea that we can be self-sufficient without the Lord ends. And we have to figure out how we're going to begin to build our life back. And that's where I've seen myself as well as others really begin to feel the presence of Christ and reach out to Christ.
You know, like I've always taught to some of my guys that were doing city ministry, I said, when you get stripped down and you realize that all you have is Jesus and you're scared because that's all you got, but then you realize that's all you need, then life does change, doesn't it?
It does.
It really does. Well, this booklet brings out an interesting point. It does say that the divorce is Satan's playground. What does that mean? And why do you think he attacks marriages so intensely today?
You know, I think one of the reasons is the family. I think the family is the first opportunity to become aware of our humanness and our ability to get along with others.
And even put God's, gifts of forgiveness to work,
Sure.
right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And so Satan goes after that. Why else do you think he goes after that stuff?
I think because God created marriage,
Yeah.
and I think that is sacred and something to be attacked.
Wow.
Now, many people get stuck in that pain after they go through a divorce. They live with bitterness, hatred, and mistrust. They find themselves unwilling to love again. They don't want to be hurt. How do you help people in your program see beyond divorce?
You know, I think one of the most difficult things, and the thing that I see most often, is that most of us want to blame the other person.
Okay.
And we want to focus on what did the other person do to me, as opposed to being able to look at our own ownership in the dissolve of the marriage.
Wow, that's really hard. In fact, that's what I love about this booklet. I mean, it's powerful to the point. And if you're listening in today, even if you were the one that cheated on your spouse, or you were the one that gambled all your money away, or whatever the case might be, you too can receive the same grace and forgiveness and restoration. But whatever side you're on, it's one thing to hear about this grace and forgiveness. It's another thing to embrace it and to really realize it's there for you, isn't it?
That's true. And forgiveness is a choice. That's been my experience. And I think one of the most difficult people to forgive was myself, as far as the mistakes that I made in the past. And I think the only way I'm able to do that, or the only way I've seen other people come to that reality, is through Christ.
Right.
Making that decision through Christ.
Yeah, in fact, this is really putting Christ's work of forgiveness, which is already yours as a gift, then putting it to work in your life, right?
Absolutely.
Now, this booklet includes some very practical steps in moving beyond divorce toward recovery. How important is it to be intentional in that process?
I think being intentional about moving forward, letting go of the past, moving on, and really, I think divorce is an opportunity to take a look at how does a person really want to live their life, and as they're able to take a look at that, because it really kind of is a stopping point when you divorce and you have to figure out how you're going to move forward. And to look at if we put our children or our spouse or anyone else as the center of our life, how that is that has problems with it.
Right.
And when we're able to put Christ at the center of our life, that's when we have a solid foundation to work from.
Wonderful. We all aren't going to experience the pain of divorce, but we all can experience, like you've talked about, the only love that lasts, and that's the love of Jesus Christ that sustains us even when others fail, and send us on a journey that we didn't choose.
Right.
JoAnn, so good to talk with you today. Thanks for coming.
Thanks for having me.
And that's our Action in Ministry segment today, to bless, to empower, and to strengthen your life in Christ for others.